So, alright, we'll just kind of follow through here. I believe it's 6 because you didn't distribute correctly. So are there parentheses? Yes. So it says distribute, right? Now what am I distributing here? Negative 6. So then I get negative 3 minus 24x, right? What's that going to give me? What's negative 6 times 6? Negative 36. You wrote positive 36, didn't you?
Yeah. I didn't add the 6 and I put a minus.
Okay, so just be careful there. Oh. It was frozen. Sorry, it was frozen. All right, so negative 3, negative 24x minus 36. That's what you're going to distribute. Greater than negative 111, right? Okay. Now it says look at the left-hand side and look for things to match up with your variable term. That's the only variable term over there, right? So nothing to combine with that, but it says then, are there leftover terms? Are those yellow things like terms? Can I combine those? So what's that going to give me? Minus 39, good. Greater than negative 111, right? Add 39. The next step says, the next step I guess here is to repeat on the right-hand side of highlighting things. But when I highlight over here, there are no like terms with that negative 111, right? So it's kind of already done. Then this says, are there variables on both sides? So that's a no. So it goes to this step. It says, look on the left or side of the variable. Is there anything on that side with the variable? That negative 39 is there. So we need to add that to both sides. Okay, so I get now negative 24x is greater than, this turns into what? Negative 72. Divide by what? Divide by what? Negative 24. Divide by negative 24. So I get x here, right? I get 3 here, and you said do what? Flip it. Because when I divide it by that negative right there, that tells me I've got to flip my inequality. So x is less than 3. Now, when you shade that, when you graph that, what is your starting point? Where on my graph do I plot?
On 3.
On 3. Open or closed? Open. Shade which direction? Good. All right. Yep, we do know. So let's take. See here, where'd it go? All right, so let's give number 7 here a shot. Okay, so what's the first thing you have to do? Distribute, and I'm distributing a negative 4. So I distribute that, it's going to be 6. Thank you. So I distribute that, it's going to be negative 4 times 6 is negative 24n. Negative 4 times 7, negative 28. Greater than or equal to 122. One thing that I've been noticing, guys, is a lot of people are going to write negative 24n, and then they make this positive 28. And that makes everything wrong. And what's frustrating is that even with that error, they then do everything after that right. Okay? So they make one slight error, makes everything wrong, and they think they're doing the whole problem wrong. If you can find out your one individual concern and fix that, chances are that's going to make everything right. Okay? So just be careful with that. So now, the next step says, look on the variable side, look for like terms. Or the left-hand side, I guess, look for like terms. Would you agree that that is the highlighting of like terms? Yes. Okay? So then I got 6 minus 28. What's 6 minus 28? Negative 22. Okay? Then minus 24n. greater than or equal to 122. What's the question?
Yeah, well, I would just subtract.
Because if I'm looking at just like terms, this negative 24n really isn't there. So now what? And when I read this, it's 6 minus 28, right? Does that make sense? Yeah. That's why I like to highlight it, because when I highlight, I know this is still there, but visually I'm looking at just the blue stuff, so it's 6 minus 28. But the idea is that you've got to remember that, because some people will or highlight this, but they won't realize they'll do that. And think, well, 6 and 28, they're both positive, so they'll add them. So make sure that we take the signs that are with those numbers. Okay, now the statement is to do the same thing on the right-hand side. So if I look at the right-hand side, that's the only like term, can't do anything, so I go on. So look at the variable side. This is our variable side. And it asks you, is there anything else on the variable side with the variable? So there's my variable, right? How do I get this negative 22 to disappear? Add 22. So then add 22 over here, right? So negative 24n is greater than or equal to 144, right? Okay. I'm going to divide by negative 24. Divide by negative 24. So here's going to be n. And now, because I divided by a negative, that flips direction. And then I get negative 6. So open or closed? Closed. Shade left or right? Left. Okay? Say again? Okay, so you had everything. So you had 4 here? Did you subtract 34 then? From both sides? Okay, then did you divide? So that would have given me what number there? Like 80, 88? Is that what I gave you? Yeah. Okay, and then you divided 88 by 24? So that's a situation where you made one error up here, but then after that error, you did everything correct. So if we can fix that one error, then you're going to be spot on with these questions. Let's try. All right, let's see what, if we go through the chart then, so are there parentheses? Nope. So go to the next step. Look at the left-hand side. Are there like terms? Okay, so those are like. That is different. So it's going to be negative 6x minus 16. Okay, then it says on the right-hand side, are there like terms? So that's going to give you what? 2x. When you're doing so the first step here is just focusing on as if there is no two sides, so it's just an expression. So just focusing. I'm not trying to move things across inequality or equal sign here. I'm just focusing on just that, and that tells me I got combined like terms. If I'm going to move across an equal sign or inequality, then I use the opposite operation. Okay. So we're just combining like terms. So I'm just focusing only on this side. Focus only on that right there. You're just going to combine like terms. When I look at just that, I'm just going to combine like terms. And at that stage, once I've done that, then the idea is, okay, now I've got x's on both sides. Now I need them all on one side. Now I'm going to add 6x here and add 6x there. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so at this stage you've got options. Okay, so let's finish with negative 16, or adding 6x. I get negative 16 is less than 8x, right? Divide by now 8. Need you x to be greater than negative 2. So that's an option. Okay, now you said, Kaylee, that you added 16 to both sides, right? Okay, that's fine. So it gives you negative 6x is less than 2x plus 16, right? Now what'd you do? Okay. So when you got 4, it's because when you subtract 2x over here, what'd you write down? Did you say 4x?
Yeah.
So if I have negative 6 minus 2x, though, it's really negative 8x, isn't it? And that gives me 16. So now divide by negative 8. So it's going to give me negative 2 again, right? But what I divided by negative, what happens to that inequality sign? It flips. So is that statement right there the same as that one? Yeah. Okay. As long as you're doing the same thing to both sides, you will eventually get down to the right answer. If you did different steps than I did, you did different steps than your neighbor did, as long as your end goal, okay, you can look down the line to where you're trying to get to, is to get your variable isolated all by itself with a 1 in front of it. Doesn't matter how you get there, as long as you get there. Okay. Did anybody subtract 2x right away? So if I have negative 6x minus 16 is less than 2x, can I subtract 2x from both sides? So it gives me negative 8x minus 16 is less than, what's this going to be over here? Nothing, which numerically is, careful, 0. So I can do that, but what's my end goal? What's my thing is to get x's by themselves, right? So maybe I look at that right there and say, okay, that's the x. Let's get that by itself. So what do I need to do? Add 16 to both sides. So negative 8x is less than 16. What do I do next? Divide by negative 8. So it gives me x. Gives me negative 2. Flip the inequality. Do all 3 of those answers in those boxes. Say the same thing. Okay. In your homework, I'm not sure where they're at. There's a handful of them. Your homework will give you a question, and you'll work through it, and you might get like this as an answer. But then the homework, when you type it in, it has already x defined. It has it typed in. And then it has like a blue box, or I guess it's an open box, it's a white box, for your inequality symbol. And then you've got a box for your number, right? Obviously, we put our number of negative 2 in there. Now, what inequality symbol do I need to put? Yeah, so it's going to be that way, right? Okay. What I've dealt with a couple people is that they've looked at that and said, well, when I type it in, why is the inequality switching directions? The inequality didn't really switch directions. Let me phrase it this way. The inequality symbol did not switch directions. This whole thing got rotated kind of that way. Does that make sense? Okay, so the left-hand side became the right. Now, when I flip it like that, so it makes that negative 2 look like a weird number. But the idea is that it didn't switch both. It switched completely. Does that make sense? A complete flip-flop of the inequality. We call it the symmetric property of inequalities. Is this something we feel comfortable with? Getting better at solving these inequalities, and at the same time we're solving inequalities, but that's at the same time practicing solving equations too, right? Because we address them the same way. So kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone here.